So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Monday night evening connection. I like to call it connection because it's first of all bringing people together. And thank you for Rachel for hosting us, and every week somebody else hosting us. And to to be very clear, for me is a connection that I decided many years ago. Every Monday in this moment, I'm going to share if one or nobody or hundreds or 1,000 coming, it doesn't matter. It's what you establish, first of all, in your consciousness. And that's very important for all of us to remember because sometimes we are or we think we are dependent on who and what. It's important to establish in your mind, in your life as well, something that is sharing, but unlimited, divided, but in a way, find a way that you are not moved or motivated by others, okay, only by your desire. And again, a lot of the things that most of us are doing in life or even act in life, it's based on what other people will say. And it seems like over here that I'm going to get more honor, over here I'm going to get more respect, or these important people and these are small people, all these mind games that we have, it's limits just us, because you can have a crowd of everybody tells you they love you. Tomorrow, somebody will tell you, I don't like you. Already, all your energy is gone. So it's important not to be affected or influenced by any of these type of what we call in Kabbalah the illusion of what we see in the physical world. Again, or sizes or important and so forth. Our job, our purpose is to reveal as much as light as my soul came here to reveal. That's what I want. If it's with one person, they're one of the Kabbalists shared that he revealed the most amount of wisdom in the world, but he came to share with one student. That's it. He came, he knew he's going to live until the age of 37. And he came for one, everybody wanted him to teach it, everybody chased after him. I'm looking for one student. And that was his purpose, that was his mission. And then he taught that student and left the world. That's it. Most of us are like thinking in terms of like comparison to what they did and how much they have and how much she have, how they look. No, that's great to awaken a desire, but never be dependent on the external. And that's exactly what I want to awaken here before, because this week is super important. We have the week of Chanukah, meaning the day of Chanukah starting this coming Thursday night. And that's why I want to bring some of the wisdom of Kabbalah to at least equip ourselves with as much as consciousness as we can until that day, right? Because once that's happening, it's already in the go, it's already in the doing, so we need to be prepared as much as we can. But not coincidental. In this week's energy, we don't have just Chanukah, it falls on Thursday, and it falls in a week, right, of specific revelation in the life of Jacob. We know the patriarchs are all the fathers of all religion. And we know that all religion are obviously beautiful in their essence, but the way of conveying the message or the way to attract people throughout the last, I would say, 40, 50, 60 years, or more, unfortunately, everybody starts to, disappear and not coming back and, not using that. Of course, like technology is advanced, religion did not advance. Therefore, it doesn't attract the new generation, and the old generation already gone from the world that used to be. And it's hard to attract the new. But that's what we call in the physical explanation. Specifically, also speaking about Chanukah. Chanukah is lighting candles. A lot of us growing up, myself growing up in Israel, it's the least amount of holiday. I mean, it's the last holiday they would think to even celebrate as you mature. Probably until maybe teenager, in Israel growing up, majority of people, it's a holiday for children. And not just that, for if you're growing up or you're adult, you're using it as like, okay, who wants to give me a gift? And that as much as I remember, and still going on. You ask my family, people that don't understand Kabbalah, that's what it is, lighting candles. What a tremendous opportunity. If people will know, just open the books of Kabbalah. The Kabbalists explain that without this wisdom disseminate for all people of the world, no religion will bring people closer to what we call revelation or inspiration. Without this wisdom, that wisdom meant to not convert anybody. You're Jewish, be the best Jew. You Christian, be the best Christian with this wisdom. You Muslim, you Hindu, doesn't matter. That the rules are completely were hidden to all religion, because it's the basis of all of that is almost the same, right? Here and there, the difference. What's missing is the depth, is the consciousness. And that's why people eventually they get tired of doing something just in a physical world. Just okay, I came. What do I get? What did I get out of it? Nothing. Therefore, people are losing. All religion are losing the people, and therefore, in the last 20, 30 years, way more in the last 20, 30 years, you see that the wisdom of Kabbalah is such a crucial and important tool and shift in the world. So therefore, when you start studying Kabbalah, you no longer become an individual who connected to me and my little picture. You understand you have an absolute purpose in the bigger picture. You become. It's not that you are. Up until now, when you don't study this wisdom, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person, but the level of connection and the level of consciousness that you can achieve by this wisdom, that light is missing from the world. The light of the consciousness of the people, not to be robotic, not to be, God said so. I really love that idea that people says, that's what God wanted. That's God's will. Or if God willing, what do you mean? These already canceling all godly force. Godly force cannot be limited, cannot be motivated or dismotivated by my doing. It's a constant, enormous amount of light that wants to be revealed, wants to share. It's when, what do you mean God willing? It's when each one of us will receive the consciousness and the desire of the Creator. That's what means God willing. You need to have a similar desire of the Creator. That's what it means. So you think, that there's like, there's chaos, or there's troubles, and there's war. That's what God wants. Absolutely not. It's because we did not yet become the gods in this world. What do you mean the gods? The desire like the Creator. What is the desire of the Creator? To share. Nothing for me. We're speaking about Chanukah. We're lighting candles. And again, as you see behind me, there's many, many candles. But the beautiful thing about Chanukah is, what is the word Chanukah? Chanukah, people think is a nice holiday. It comes from the word chinuch. Chanukah from the word chinuch, which is education. Education. That's why when somebody going into a new house or a new business, we call Chanukah Tabayit. We need to do the celebration of a new house, or housewarming, they call it, right? The word Chanukah is the word education. Every year in this time, there is obviously cosmic influence that is open for all of us to receive education directly from the light. What type of light? A very intimate light. a very gentle light. The teaching of Chanukah is the most gentle, the most pure and simple that can touch all hearts. That's what Chanukah. You want to open your heart in Chanukah like unlike before. You know why people hate each other? Because they never got to know the light of the other person. If I would be exposed to the light of the other person, if I would be able to have an insight to the heart of the other person, everything is melted. Look at the candles. You can have a red candle, you can have white candle, you can have orange candle. Doesn't matter. You light the candle, it's the same light to everybody. All the candles, same light. Yeah, the concept is known and we're speaking about it, but at the same time, we need to be like that. What's the difference between people? It's their light. Their light is the same light. It's the what we call the landscape maybe is different, or where they grew up is a little bit different, or their culture or the religion is different. But this is only the color and shape and form. It's not their light. And this is what we need to awaken here. So this week is almost like we have like a Tuesday, Wednesday, and half of Thursday, right? What do we want to connect in Chanukah? And what you want to awaken and also to learn from this week's portion. It's called portion Vayeshev. And again, the story of Yaakov, which on a side is a very interesting conversation because last week we spoke in the Torah, it speaks about the idea that Jacob overcome the angel of death. And from that moment, he says that his name will no longer name as Jacob, but the name Israel. Israel. That was his name, and Israel represents a channel, a different level of consciousness. We spoke about it. It's not now the conversation. So wait a second. When Jacob named Israel, right after we saw, obviously, this week's portion, Vayeshev Yaakov, and Jacob settled down. That's the word of this week's energy. This is the story of the Torah. Wait a second. Last week you told me to call him only Israel. Now you told him to call him Jacob. Is it about Jacob? No. Each one of us, my friend, have two levels within us: Jacob and Israel. Higher level of consciousness called Israel. A lower level of consciousness is in the name of Jacob. Let's understand that. So why now it says Jacob and not Vayeshev Israel and then Israel sit down? Why you call him Jacob? Because the consciousness already telling you something. Vayeshev is the word and he settled down or he sat down. Okay? We learn from Jacob that all his life it was about being proactive. Being proactive. Not waiting for someone, not waiting for something, but initiate. Initiate. That's his gift. His gift of initiation, of go for it. Be the one who do without any fear or any approval. That was Jacob. In this week, the word Vayeshev, and he sat down. Already, it represents a lower level of him. What does it mean? That's why the name, he fell down to the level of what we call Yaakov. Now, there's a gift in this week, because everything that we're reading about is not a lesson, but I have to remember that it's an immunity against that. What we're reading, what we study is not about, oh, we should learn that lesson for the future. No. Every week, for example, Chanukah, we look at education. You actively receive education once you know you have the consciousness. Once you have the consciousness of Jacob, you receive a vaccination against that disease of what? Comfort zone. It's a disease. All of us living life looking to be comfortable. We don't know that we're living life looking to get, God forbid, disease. What? This is it. What is even the word this is, right? No is, right? No, that's what they call it. It's you can't. A disease meant to move somebody to do something, right? Not to be in an ease. Move on. So anytime there is vayeshev, you know what? I need to lay back. Lay back. Take your time. Boom, chaos. We work so hard. We did so much. We manifest a lot. Take the time. Reap the fruits of your labor. Boom, chaos. This doesn't happen. This we have to remember when we in this world, we alive in this world, we meant to produce, we meant to reveal every second of your day. Imagine, the light bulb says, you know what, I'm tired, too much light. Let me wait. Oh, I told you to turn on, you turn on. Most of us, when they tell you to turn on, like depends who's gonna be there. Depends what I'm gonna get in return. That's what I'm gonna turn on. Right? Turn on your engine, turn on your excitement, turn on your smile. Why should I smile? Who is there? Right? It's always working like that. And we need to be on. And a lot of us like are afraid to be on because why? Why should I? It's gonna be look good, it's gonna be weird, Why am I always on? That's proactive. Proactive is constant. And Yaakov, eventually, right now, in this portion, he have all his 12 kids. He have everything is settled. And he says, you know what? Now I'm going to sit down in the land of Israel. I'm going to retire. Have you heard about the word retired? It's the word retired, right? What do you mean retired? A lot of people are working so hard. I need to retire. What do you mean retired? Retired meaning I'm inviting chaos. That's what it means. We are still alive. We are still breathing. We meant to produce, to create, to do. It doesn't, a lot of people agree with this reality of when you get older, you get sick. Have you heard it before? You get older, you get weaker. You get older, you get irrelevant. You become irrelevant. That's what we all agree upon. And we educating our kids when you grow up, you can. No. It's if I want to bring immortality, I need to work in a mortal way, unstoppable way, unstoppable energy, unstoppable being. That is what Chanukah is, to be educated, to be an endless individual. What is Jacob? Again, it's not coincidence why it's falling this week, because now there's another deeper understanding here. The word Vayeshev and Jacob settled down or sat down. If you switch the letter, you get the word shavui, which is captive. Captive. Interesting that in the world right now, a lot of the story of the captives, right? Why in life? Why in life? We start something, we initiate something, but then eventually we find that we became captive of that same thing. Oh, why did I take it upon myself? Now I'm like in prison of doing it, Or you take upon yourself a lease for an apartment, right? And then you feel like, oh man, now a year I'm stuck in here, right? Like you get excited to move on, to do this, or to get married. A lot of people, I want to get married. They get married after a while, like I'm in prison, right? I feel captive. Why? Why is that we all have, like you open a business, you become a slave of the business. Feel like a slave to this. Now I don't have freedom anymore, but I open a business because I want freedom, and all of a sudden I'm a captive of the same freedom I set up for myself, right? I want to be single. You want to be single, then you feel you captive, right? Then you want to be in relationship, like, I don't want to be, I have to do it, right? It's the same all the time. Living a bachelor life, you feel captive by that. Now you feel like in prison that I cannot bring anybody home because I'm already get used to the lifestyle. So you become captive, right? You were kidnapped. by your own doing. So this is the vaccination of this week, the vaccination that we receive cosmically, cosmically, is the getting out of our own captivity. How? Obviously, we have the support of Chanukah, which we'll explain a few ideas here. But the big idea is, I'm going to share with you. First, you need to understand you cannot prevent yourself from being captive for the same thing you desired for. You cannot. It's something that's going to happen to you automatically, right? You started a study for a degree, college degree. You feel like, oh, I'm stuck now for 3 years, right? You cannot prevent that feeling from happening. I started a career. Oh, it's gonna take so long. I'm gonna get stuck. That something is gonna happen, and you should agree with that because why? What is the conscience of a captive? If somebody took you in captive, it means that you have what? An equal return, right? So if I capture someone in captive and nobody wants them, I can't get anything in return, right? Right now, we see a terror organization kidnapped, whatever, 200 people. Why? Why 200 people? Well, again, doesn't matter. One person. Why? Because they can get in return so many more of their people. Does that make sense to you? So if you are a captive of anything, it's because there is a value on your head. There's a major, major value on your head, and you should know that. Which means, because let's say if somebody, have no value, what happening? The negative side or any of this, allow him to be, in captivity or not captive. I don't need that, right? I don't need that person in captive because he makes no difference. I cannot receive anything in return for his head, right? So anything that is worthwhile, energy, light, you will be captive by that. If you're not, something is wrong. There is no value there. So if you don't feel trapped in relationship, if you don't feel trapped into something, you got trapped to do that or to do this, something is wrong in what you're doing. Why? Because if the negative side or your, what we call the evil inclination, your evil, wants you to feel like you are captive because he wants you to get out of it. Who wants to stay captive in anything, right? Like you've been kidnapped, right? Anybody want to stay there, right? They say there is like people who get kidnapped. Eventually, there's a syndrome. I forgot the name of it. Huh? Stockholm syndrome, right? Eventually, they fall in love in their captives. Does that make sense to you? Meaning, right now, you lost your value. But if there is something worth value in your life, you will have to feel captive by that. And therefore, why? Because one, you need to understand that each one of us have a very, very elevated value, a very supernal value that we cannot appreciate or connect to because our ego is still part of the equation. Each one of us values, each one of us heads, there is a army of negativity who wants to capture you, your consciousness, and deceive you into believing to this physical world, into completely be disconnected, and so forth. There's a high value, high value. So most of us don't understand that. So first of all is to raise that consciousness that exists. That's why when Yaakov settled down, Vayeshev Yaakov, that's what it means. There's a high value on that individual. That's why the negativity want to capture him. And the second thing is, if you want to create something that can manifest or can reveal light in the world, you need to make sure that that is trying to give you that energy of captive. When you feel it, You need to recognize, oh, there's something good going on here. Don't fall from that. Get excited when you feel being, oh, I feel like trapped. Great. I feel captive. Great. Why? Because there's an enormous amount of light of your soul wants to be revealed. Therefore, there is an attack to make you feel this way, so you're not gonna feel excited. You know, have you seen somebody is in captive and is excited and motivated and happy? Have you ever seen that? You see all the people who are right now in captive, right? You know, suffering. Yeah, forget about the video that they show you, right? The in You are in prison. You're not really happy, right? So this is the major gift that we can all awaken in this world. Again, in this week, I'm sorry. The next is the idea of Chanukah is work on the same idea, on the same level. Why? As I said in the beginning, the light of Chanukah is right now in the world is being diminished because of the people don't really study it or understand it in deeper way. So therefore, they're not really doing, and if they're doing, it's almost like, as I said, let's eat the donuts, the what you call it, the sofgania. Let's eat the donuts, right? Fun. Let's do a holiday. Take it an opportunity to make a holiday party, right? Oh, let me send some gift. That's as much as people is doing. Sometimes I tell people, do you do that? It's the same way you light every day another candle. No, people have no clue what they're doing. In Chanukah, which we'll expect to see next week, the idea is that you light the first one. I'm sure you see it, right? Okay. First one, and not the next day you lighting another one. You light the first one, the second one, two. The third night you light three. Okay, and so forth, you growing the light of Hanukkah, growing. A lot of people lighting one, and the next day another one, and the next day another one, and it's not really, it's not clear for them. And a lot of that is misinformation. What is the indication here? That Hanukkah, because the light of Hanukkah is in a supernal value, the negative side made sure that everybody will disconnect from that. And even if you want to connect, okay, just eat the donut, get some coins, chocolate coins, those. That's just the degree that people are connecting to. And that's for me was never exciting. I never connected till I got to Kabbalah, and it's a whole different. I tell you even more. Have you heard about Rosh Hashanah? Have you heard about Rosh Hashanah? Everybody knows Rosh Hashanah is so important the year. Rosh Hashanah is dependent. The light that is in Rosh Hashanah was revealed was September, right? September. It's dependent on Chanukah. If I'm not making awakening light in Chanukah, the gift that they wanted to give you in Rosh Hashanah cannot be activated. That's why it's 3 months, right? Tishrei, the month of Libra, where Rosh Hashanah starts, and all the holidays. Then you have Scorpio, which represents left column, right? And you have central column, which is the time of Chanukah, which is in the month of Kislev, which is Sagittarius. These 3 months are preparation to what we call the energy of Mashiach, the energy of activation of our own holy temple, the internal holy temple. These are the 3 months of the beginning of the year that are in charge of building a mechanism that each one of us will be able to connect to what we call the holiest of the holiest inside of it. Therefore, the work that was done on hiding the light of Chanukah did a very good, very, how you call it, a good number, right? They did a good number good job on hiding that light. Again, the negative side, but again, that's why Kabbalah is super important to awaken these secrets. So, what do we get, and what do we need to be educated in Chanukah, and the preparation for that? We spoke about it that Chanukah, if you light the first day 1, the second 2, the 3, how many candles you in total lighting in Chanukah? 36. Okay? 36. And the 36 candles that you light in Chanukah represent, again, this, because if you read in the Torah, in the Bible, or any of it, the holiday of Chanukah was never mentioned. It mentioned Passover, right? That they celebrated, where they celebrated Passover? In Egypt, right? The first beginning of Passover was in Egypt. You take Shavuot, which is the receiving of the Torah, in Mount Sinai. You take, what was it? Sukkot in the desert, or they're sitting in the hut, it's in the desert, right? Purim in Shushan, in Persia, right? Purim, the holiday of Purim. Hanukkah is the only holiday that was celebrated and was ignited in Israel, in the Holy Temple, where what the Greeks wanted to decay that light of Hanukkah, decay the light of people. What is the consciousness that all this is about? Is transforming what we call I spoke about it a little bit last week. I gave you a little bit insight if you heard last week study. We spoke about inner light and external light, right? Surrounding light, if you remember that. If not, you can always go and study that. Each one of us have what we call the external, the light, the external light. What is the external light in the physical world look like? What they have. I want that. When I get there, that's when I'm going to be happy. When I'm going to get to the beach and to the vacation, that's when I'm going to be. When I eliminate all my debt, that's when I'm going to be happy. When I find my soulmate, that's called external light. And that is what the idea of Chanukah is all about. To stop looking for the external light, because look around. So much light here. It's like fascinated. This is the same idea. Chanukah tells you, no. Take all of that and ignite your inner light. It's very important to awaken and to ignite our inner light. So this is what the work of Chanukah. Stop being busy with it. So we have 36 different candles that we light in Chanukah throughout the 8 days. What do they represent? This is what we call it's called the specific light that was given to the first Adam, the first man, to study for 36 hours. 36 hours he was spending time with this, learning all the wisdom of the Creator, all the wisdom. He says, mitchilat ha'olam ve'ad sofo, from the beginning of the world until the end of the world, all the wisdom, all the circumstances, all the results and the causes, he was getting in that 36 hours. These 36 hours, what we call the Or HaGanuz, you remember that name? Or is light, Ganuz is concealed. Every light is concealed, but specifically, this particular sweet light is only once a year revealed in Chanukah for free. For free by what? Certain ignition of or lighting of a candle. That's how. That's one of the ways. So we know, how do we know Chanukah in the Torah? Because Ner is candles, is mentioned 36 times in the entire Torah. The word light is concealed in the Torah, but says in 36 different places, right? We know that the entire Torah have all Chanukah in it. So you should understand the depth of that. It's not specifically one portion or the entire Torah. It's the revelation in Chanukah. Now, the beauty of that is what? He says, I want to read from the word of the Kabbalist, the unbelievable words. It's important to read from the original language. He says, Ve'olam le'zikaron le'bnei Israel, for the Israel, they should know and remember that for eternity. Sha'or mibchinat or haganuz, the light, what we call the concealed light, Akenu b'Torah rai begniza. In the Torah is all concealed within the Torah. The light of Chanukah is concealed throughout the entire Torah. Asher nirmaz, and that we know that particular light. Metzil medina shel gehenom, remove people from the consciousness of hell. Umesugal et tchiyat hametim, and is equipped with the power to resurrect the dead, which means immortality. Immortality, the light of immortality, the light of immortality, and the light of the what we call Chanukah is tremendous light to completely remove death, pain, and suffering. Not just that, I have another one to share with you. Is, as I said before, you sit next to the Torah, next to the candles, and you ask the candle, you need to demand from the candle, please teach me unity. What is unity? How can I be in unity with somebody I never met? Right? The candles can teach you. Look at all the lights shines over here. We have 20, 50, or one person in the room. If the lights over here, they get upset when there's not many people or hundreds of people. Stay in light. No question. One, remember what I said in the beginning? Every Monday? You need to understand that. This is where it's come from. You gotta be the light no matter what in the room or not in the room. What results happen, what didn't happen. I thought they promised me, I'm disappointed. Wipe that. This is what your negative side. This is what what we call Antiochus. Antiochus was the king, right, of the Greeks that wanted to decay the desire of people to be the light and wanted to connect. We give you this, we're gonna give you that, you know. Don't stop, don't fight. We give you that. We promise you. All working in promises. Again, this is education that you want to receive. Few more ideas that are super, super important to awaken is, where is it? We learn, and I said before, that's what I said. Oh, what do you receive again in Chanukah? It's another gift that not a lot of people know. It's secrets of Kabbalistic secret. ואומר לך לדבר, and I tell you, the Kabbalah says, I'm going to reveal to you the secrets, right? That was known but was concealed. בחנוכה יש מקום לעורר פקודת העקרים והעקרות כאין ראש השנה. In Chanukah, what do you receive in Rosh Hashanah? Rosh Hashanah is determined if you're going to have children, how much money you're going to have, and how much life, meaning how many days you're going to live. That's what determined in Rosh Hashanah. But the truth is, it's you receive it there, but until Chanukah, it cannot be actualized. So if anybody need the gift of marriage, want to be married, want to find a soulmate, you sit next to the candle and you tell the candle, you gotta find me my soulmate. If somebody needs children, you sit next to the candle. These candles have the power to ignite that soul, that spark in the mother womb. That's what the candle is about. The candle have the power to ignite all the sustenance that was promised to you in Rosh Hashanah. Right? These are gifts that not a lot of people are sitting and asking. Again, every single day of Chanukah. And then the last thing is, he says, the education or the desire to receive, again, that the desire that I want to have in Chanukah is to connect to what we call the concealed light, or haganuz. Remember this, you can write down for yourself. You have to call upon that concealed light. the Or HaGanuz. Why? He says, because all the Kabbalists knew, האור הראשון היו מביטים בו מסוף העולם עד מסוף העולם ועד סופו, which means all the righteous people, all the Kabbalists were able to connect to and to see all these wisdoms. How do, if you ask yourself, how did they know all of that? Somebody taught them? And who taught that person? There's always like a question about it that people ask. How did they know that? How did they know exactly what Adam HaRishon, the first man, right? It was like a few thousand. How do you know, right? So that's the beauty of this concealed light. If you connected to the concealed light, you connected to the wisdom that was shared from the beginning of the world until the end of the world. So he says, so how do I connect to that? Again, first of all, asking, having desire. And then he says, שכל מה שהאדם רואה בכל פעם דבר חדש בתורה הוא מאור הגנוז. So for example, every time you come and study directly from Kabbalah and the Torah, if today you're sitting here or you're watching it online at some day, maybe in a year from now, and something was revealed to you, like from what you learned today, is there anything new that was inspired for you from this teaching? Something new. That new thing that you learn, it comes from the concealed light. That's what it is. The concealed light was revealed to you specifically to learn about that secret of Chanukah. And there's many, or Chanukah, or about the Torah, or about any lessons that comes from the Torah, comes from the Bible, comes from the wisdom. If it's new, for wow, I always learn. I never really saw that this way, but every time I learn, it's like, wow, it's amazing. Like even if the word in Yaakov settled down, Vayeshev, the word Vayeshev, not a lot of people know that what I just shared with you, the captive. It's concealed. So when it was revealed to me, it was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then I learned it's from the concealed light. It's from that precious light. So what do we want to do? Every day, make sure you make an attempt to connect to a deeper wisdom, not to stay shallow, not to stay superficial, not to take things the way they are. I want to know why. I want to understand how. And deepening your connection, that's what it means. And every time it's going to reveal to you a lot. So when you use that light of Chanukah every day for 8 days, you're asking for that desire to connect to the concealed light. And then in your teaching, it's going to come and teach you. It's going to show you aha moments, revelation. Oh my God, transform my life, It's funny, we did last Shabbat, we did in the gospel, we did a beautiful Shabbat. And again, for me, a lot of that, I always try to prepare something new for the Shabbat, which I shared. But a lot of people, the first time are hearing that, and then I know that for 20-something years, what is the consciousness and this and that. And then people are, oh my God, wow, changed my life. What? Really? That's amazing. The first time you're hearing about it, and you like grew up in these circles. So that's just an amazing to see it in our life. Yeah. Couple more, because it's super important about Chanukah. I want to share with you is when we want to be educated by Chanukah. Again, I'm going to share it more also next week because it's going to be still in the energy of Chanukah. But we singing few songs. And one of the songs, you says, En lanu reshut leishtamesh b'hem. You're not allowed to use them. That's the word, that's part of the verses that you read to activate what we call the education of the candle. Right? They need to educate you. You need to be complete educated in redemption, in unity, in love, in obviously opening your temple. But then he says, you have to ask the candles, we're not allowed to use you. What do you mean not allowed to use you? You told me 2 seconds ago to light the candles. Now you tell me not to use the candles in Chanukah. That's not the idea. The idea is you're not turning, like, I know that it's the atmosphere of making a dim and light a candle. There's an atmosphere. Not in Chanukah. In Chanukah, you light the lights, right? You turn on the lights and you light the candles. You're not using them to read something. Sometimes you're doing it at night and you read it and you're sitting next to them and study. Never. Don't do that. You're not allowed. What do you mean not allowed? I'll tell you why the idea is. Each candle represents endless amount of sharing and giving energy. Each candle. When each one of us giving, helping, sharing, motivating, being there for others, you're not allowed to use that. What do you mean not allowed to use it? I don't want anything in return from that. Like the candle. Candles share with you endlessly, tremendously. The same way you want to become when you share, when you help, when you give. If you want something in return, you're no longer like the candle. You are using that. I want something in return. Give me that light. No. I want to be educated and get the strength to, when you do an action of sharing, I don't want to use it, meaning I don't want anything in return. I was the light, I was the candle, and I let it go. And when the wax finish or the oil finish, it's finished. I shared, some people, when you help them, let's say you give them you give them some money. We spoke about it, right? You give somebody some money, right? When the money runs out, what is it gonna do? Come back to you, right? It's a friend or a family member, right? The money runs out. I used it. Now I want more. No, not the candle teaching you. You shared, let go. You can't take anything from, but look how much I helped. Why I don't get? I'm such a sharing person. Why I don't get my soulmate or my this or my that? All kind of reasons. No. It's nothing to do with that. This is an education that the candles can give us. Meaning, when I'm saying education is the vaccination about it. So I think we're good. I think we're good. There's so many. I mean, I would love to continue forever. Yeah, but that's going to be shared more next week. Yeah. Yes. So in closing, this light that is coming to us, obviously in Thursday night, already available for us now. What can I do until then? Obviously, with all the lessons that we shared, and I shared last week, being busy with igniting what we call the light of appreciation, called Hod. Hod is the word of Hodaya, we spoke of last week. To start, be thankful for things that are not happening in my life. Start, be thankful for things that are against my will. Start, be thankful for people that are not supporting me. Appreciate that individual came to my life. Thank you for the challenge. Oh, thank you for being mean to me. Oh, start this week, at least. Not any other time, it's something else. But this week, you want to start igniting that light and awaken that appreciation. Most of us appreciating this, appreciate my parents, appreciating this, appreciating what I got. It's so easy to appreciate what we think is good. But it's the hardest is to be thankful and to appreciate when I don't get. That's what you can continue doing until Thursday. And Thursday, you are completely different. Completely different. Remember, I just end up with a story that I really like. So once upon a time there was this fox, and he was starving. He was starving, and he was in the field, saw like a winery, right? Grapes, like sitting there. So, I'm starving. I want to get in. So he was like looking around the looking for a hole in the, and he find the hole. And because he was hungry, and it was no food. It was thin, right? Slimmer. He could enter, and he stays there for 3 days. He's eating. Oh, he's enjoying. And then he's trying to get out, but now he's too big to get out, right? So what did he do? He needed to lose. He needed to lose all this weight. Now another 3 days. He starved himself for 3 days. Then he could get out, right? Again, story go a little bit longer, but but what is the idea, right? If the fox was smart, what he would do? He was going in, take all the grapes, throw them outside of the fence, get out, and he can eat it, enjoy as much as he wants, right? This is the game that we're playing in this world. We think what's going on here, accumulate more and more and more. You don't take anything with you. If somebody generate wealth, somebody generate wisdom. So if I think I cannot keep any of this secret from me, right? What am I going to do with it? Let's say I keep all this wisdom for me. How is it going to, what is it going to benefit me? Right? When somebody leaves this world, he takes zero with them. Even more than that. Look at people who are older. Slowly, they start having less desire for things, or for as older ages. Oh, I don't know, who cares. They already decided where the wheel is gonna go. They already let go of the possession. They realize what I'm gonna do with this house. I'm gonna be in a 2x4. What is it? 2x4, 10 by what you call it? 10x2, whatever. And that's where I'm gonna be. So why am I accumulating and trying to get fatter and fatter and bigger? If everything that you have is not being shared, it's as if you are a fox who's trying to fool somebody. Anything. Once you do it for the sake of sharing, once you understand the wealth, the wisdom, the beauty, the love, the kindness, the whatever it is that you have, I never meant to go and being like this spokesperson for religion. The people. What do I have? Let me share it. What do I been receiving? Let me give it. Start to be educated like that. And obviously, that's the smartest way to live. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of the week. And then again, if you have a chance to light the candles Thursday night, recommended oil candle. If anybody have any question, you can reach out or ask us, for any questions about it. Thank you, and I see you soon next week. Please.